round. Um, a lot of our Super Bowl picks, I think all three of us except Rohan's got busted in terms of both teams being there. Shree, both your teams lost this weekend, the Lions and the Ravens. Probably, I guess, technically upsets, both upsets of the weekend, even if Buffalo was the home team. We're going to talk all about the championship games, but let's just get into the divisional round. The first game, Chiefs Texans. I don't think there's much to talk about with this game. I think it went kind of the way all of us thought it would. But let's talk about the Chiefs side of this. Camille, I'll ask you first.
hmm
You've been a little bit, probably a little cooler on the Chiefs than all of us have been this entire year. Did this game show you the team that you've been seeing the entire year, or show you anything to give them a little bit more promise in the championship round?
Well, first of all, when you say cooler on the Chiefs, I absolutely think the Chiefs can win the Super Bowl, and they're probably favorites right now. But what I saw from them in this Texans game is essentially what we've seen all year: good defense, an efficient offense, going out there making the plays they need to make, and just winning the game. I fully expected the Chiefs to win this game. The Texans did come out and play a very good defensive game. You could talk about the penalties here and there and how that affected the outcome of the game. I still think the Chiefs are winning this game no matter what. And again, they came out, played the same brand of football they've been playing all year, and played pretty much how I expected them to play.
Yeah, I'm looking at the stats right now. I mean, Texans won the time of possession, more yards, more passing yards, more rushing yards, more first downs, 8 sacks. Only the Chiefs only got 3 sacks on the game, and they still managed to win this, and the Chiefs still managed to win this game. I mean, yes, statistically this is a weaker Chiefs team. I look at the stats all the time, but you have to admit this Chiefs team always finds a way to win games. Like you said, Arjun, I think this is what we have been seeing from the Chiefs all year. And I don't we'll talk about conference championships, but my preview is I don't expect anything different against Buffalo.
Trey?
Yeah. No, I think for me, I think the Chiefs really need to like unleash, Marquise Brown, DeAndre Hopkins, like super underwhelming to see what they did against the Texans. I want to see the offense, come out. Like I really think this Chiefs offense has a ton of potential. Like you hear the names like Xavier Worthy, DeAndre Hopkins, Marquise Brown. Like this is a offense. When you think of Andy Reid, he can probably manipulate the offense in like so many ways. But for me, the defense played well. But I mean, it is what it is. It's the Chiefs. You can't really call them out or say anything because they're just going to get it done. So it'll be cool to see what the Bills do.
I do want to say, we're talking about the Chiefs offense maybe not being all that in this game, and I think we gotta give some props to this Texans defense. I
Yeah.
think they're honestly the thing more than anything. I think coaching and defense have really gotten the Texans to the divisional round, which is really not where we expected them to be. I think most of us expected them to get blown out in the wild card round, to be frank. So gotta give props to this Texans defense. A lot of young talent on that defense, particularly Will Anderson, Derek Stingley. You're going to be there for a long time with D'Amico Ryans and Stroud. So, honestly, I think all things considered, a pretty good season for the Texans. For on the Chiefs side, I think the most worrying thing for Chiefs fans heading into Buffalo, and we'll talk about this, is time of possession and the sacks. Buffalo sacks the quarterback and they dominate time of possession. Those are two things Joe Brady and Josh Allen have really excelled at this entire year. They've got to protect Mahomes in this game. Otherwise, I think it's going to be a long night for them in Buffalo. But we'll talk about that game. So Chiefs move on. Next game of the weekend, the most surprising result of the
Oh
weekend.
man,
I gotta say, we
we
had
had
an
an
incredible.
electric experience.
Yeah, we went to a bar here in the Washington, D.C. area to watch Commanders Lions, and I gotta say, it was probably one of the most electric
Great atmosphere.
game viewing
Yeah,
experiences
yeah.
I've had in my
It was
entire life.
incredible. It was absolutely incredible. I mean, I think, hold on, let's take a step back, first of all. This is, look at this Commander season in totality. I mean, they've revitalized football here, it feels
Yeah.
like. I mean,
Mhm.
I haven't seen anything like that ever. I think for a franchise that won their last playoff game nearly 20 years ago, to make this run right now with the rookie quarterback says a lot
Mhm.
about this team. It says a lot about ownership in the NFL too.
Yeah.
2 years after Dan Snyder leaves, and already they're making waves. But the game itself, I mean, I don't even know where to start with the game. I think first thing you got to talk about is Jayden Daniels again.
I think just both quarterbacks. I
Yeah,
think you could
Yeah.
see the difference of the
yeah. I mean,
quarterbacks in
it
this.
comes
Yeah.
down. It comes down
Yeah.
there. Jayden Daniels, another incredible game. I think my prediction came really close to coming true. Yet I think
Yeah.
299 yards and 59 rushing yards. I predicted 360. Um, and yeah, he's playing at an elite level. His weapons are incredible. Terry McLaurin, we know he's great, but other guys, De'Ami Brown is stepping up. Zach Ertz, veteran Zach Ertz is stepping up. And defensively, I mean, we'll talk about their defense. It's had its struggles, but they really made Jared Goff look like rookie Jared Goff out there.
Yeah, I think honestly, I think Jayden played incredible this game. And I think he put his team in a position to win, and he does not look like a rookie. I think that's been the most
Mhm.
common saying when it comes to Jayden Daniels, and deserves a ton of credit there. But I think we got to talk about. I honestly think the Lions could have won this game. I think they shot
Yeah,
themselves in the
100%.
foot way too
100%.
many times. I mean, you can talk about the defensive injuries, and how Jayden Daniels was able to move the ball, and this offense was able to move the ball. But this game, like the Bills Ravens game, which we're going to talk about, came down to turnovers. Jared Goff and this Lions offense committed, I believe, 4 turnovers in the game, and that was really the difference. They were careless with the ball. They had a pick six go the other way. Um, and Jameson Williams threw a pick on the Ben Johnson play that I think he cooked a little too hard there.
This should never have been called.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what he was thinking there. I also, separate thing, I don't know why whenever a non-quarterback gets the ball, they feel obligated. I've never
Throw it
seen
away.
just throw it away. Exactly.
Right.
Keenan Allen threw a pick like that.
Yeah,
I feel like a couple
I
weeks
just
ago.
saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that replay a few days ago.
I don't know why.
Be that
Yeah.
way.
You're not that guy. Sorry. But anyway, I think the Lions offense lost this game. I've been confident in the Lions since last season to win the Super Bowl this year, and they just made too many mistakes. They don't usually make these mistakes. Jared Goff, when he's not protected, can't get it done. You didn't hear, and credit to Jayden Daniels and Dan Quinn. We don't talk. Are we talking a lot about Jayden Daniels?
That's right, Dan
The
Quinn.
credit deservedly goes to
And a
him.
lot of us harped on that hiring pick.
Honestly,
When it happened.
Cliff Kingsbury as well. I mean, I remember when Rohan used to hate on that man. Like
He
Yeah,
hated on that.
I still hate that man. Don't get me wrong.
I don't know. Was Cliff the problem? Like you go start asking that question.
Yes, he was.
maybe Kyle.
Whatever allows him to cope.
Head coach. He's an offensive coordinator. Anyway,
But
No,
Dan Quinn, anyway. Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
I think for me, it's just I think there were two things for me that were like going into this this game is one how productive the Commanders were going to be on the ground and how much this Commanders defense and especially that run defense was going to hold up. Obviously, Jahmyr Gibbs played great, but I think over the last 3 weeks, combined Austin Eckler, Brian Robinson Jr., they had 147 total yards over the last 3 weeks. That's how unproductive this run game's been. That game against the Lions, they both go for 132 yards. So we see how effective that run game's been. And even on top of that, over the entire season, regular season, they only had 17 turnovers. In the postseason alone, they have 6. And 5 of them were against the Lions. 3 of them led to touchdowns. You actually see this roster coming together when it actually matters most. I actually think this is going to be one of the better NFC championships that we've seen in a very long time. You have 2 stacked, offenses. You have teams that can win in multiple ways because I actually trust this Commanders offense now. And this defense is coming together too. The reason why I think this is so exciting of a game coming up is just because of Jalen Hurts. Like because he hasn't had that great of a passing game for such a long time. I'm just interested to see what this Washington run game or run defense are going to do to Saquon Barkley. And I think that's going to be what we have to watch out for.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me just say, I think the Lions have peaked. Last year is probably the first they're going to get at this point, losing both their coordinators. The limitations of Jared Goff have been pretty clearly shown at this point. I mean, and I get the injuries on defense are terrible, but still, you got to come out there. You've been playing incredible all year, and you can't get the job done against the Commanders. I think it's very distressing if you're a Lions fan. I don't think they're going to repeat the heights that they experienced this year, especially with so much turnover happening in that coaching staff. I don't think they're going to be bad by any means, but I think their chance has
I don't
come
know.
down.
I
think-
disagree. I think their best player has been out all year. I mean, Aiden
Yeah,
has been
both
gone
yeah.
all year, and
I think Goff limits that team so much.
I think next year they're gonna have a little bit of a hangover to deal with the two core.
Mhm.
Like you saw this with the Eagles last year, dealing with
yeah, that could
losing both
happen.
coordinators.
Yeah.
I think long term they're going to be okay. They've got the coach.
Mhm.
Goff is better than I'd say 80% of the quarterbacks in the league right now.
Is he going to win your Super Bowl?
But you've got an extremely talented young core player. For me, the Lions are a lot like the Niners,
Mhm.
I think, of previous years. I think they've got such a good base of good players on young or rookie contracts or, their first contracts. You got Penei Sewell, Hutchinson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Gibbs, JMO as well. You got a ton of young players here that I think they're going to be fine long term. Next year might be a little rough for them.
Yeah.
But let's move to the next game. Rams at Eagles.
Mhm.
This game, I think, I picked the Rams. I think this game went, honestly, as I kind of was wanting it to. I think Jalen Hurts showed a lot of his limitations in this game. Stafford and the Rams had a chance to win the game, just a little too careless at the end.
Mhm.
Do we think this is, well, we'll talk about the Eagles when we get to the NFC Championship, but do we think this is the last? We've been saying the last hurrah for the Rams for a while. Do we think this is officially the last hurrah for Stafford and this team?
I think, yeah. I mean, Matt Stafford, like, okay, honestly, this game's not played in the snow. The Rams might win this game,
Hmm.
because Stafford was turning it up a little bit towards the end in the second half. But I think it is. I mean, Cup's regressed, and he's dealt with a lot of injuries. Stafford's obviously regressing. He doesn't have the same toughness, mobility in the pocket that he once had. Um, I think it is over. I mean, I think this Rams team is still going to be good. They have a very good and young defense ahead of schedule, but I do think they need a bit of a reset on offense. Maybe bringing in a new quarterback to at least learn under Stafford. Maybe shipping off guys like Cup and keeping your younger core like Nakua, Kyron Williams. I think it's a retool for the Rams, not a rebuild, but it's going to take a minute to get there.
Yeah, I'm with you, Rohan. I think the Matt Stafford days aren't necessarily over. They're probably going to run it back next year and make the playoffs, maybe be a wild card exit. But they're never going to get back to the Super Bowl under Matt Stafford. I think you bring up a good point about bringing in a young quarterback. Long term, the Rams obviously are going to be fine. I mean, you got Sean McVay, arguably the best coach in the league at this point, or second best at least. So yeah, Rams are going to be fine long term. This is a fun little game for them. I think the big takeaway from this game is that Jalen Carter is arguably the best defensive player in the league.
Jacksonville.
Wait, what's going
Sorry, breaking news as of the filming of this podcast. Liam Cohen, who we thought was going back to the Buccaneers,
Jacksonville?
is going to Jacksonville
Wow.
after they hired Trent Baalke.
That's a great hire.
It's a great hire. We've had a lot of great hires. I mean, Chicago, Ben Johnson, not to interrupt
No,
your Rams take, the Chicago hiring Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn to the Jets. Obviously, we allude to that. Mike Vrabel to the Patriots as well.
That's good for Trevor Lawrence, I think, Liam.
Yeah, yeah.
Good.
I think a lot of good hires this cycle overall. I think the right
Good
coaches are
coordinator,
going to the
yeah.
right teams.
Yeah. Anyways.
But yeah, Shree on the Rams.
Yeah, not really much to say. It's an eight. I think there's like the studs of this team from the past are aging. I think the defense is really young. I think the defense is going to be great, and I think that's honestly where it starts. Like for like a new era for this team, I think like having a young quarterback to sit behind Matthew Stafford, along with the young defense, is probably the best that you can ask for long term. So kind of agree with Camille there. And yeah, I think next year they'll be competitive as well. Matt Stafford, in my opinion, is still like one of the most experienced quarterbacks. And I mean, he is one of the most experienced quarterbacks in the league. He will step up when it matters most. But yeah, I think they're probably a playoff exit next year, early playoff exit, but they'll be good long term.
Just quick thing. I think if Stafford decides to retire this offseason, I think the Rams become the top spot for Sam Darnold. I think it makes too much sense.
Oh, that would
The
make
same
too much
system,
sense, yeah.
same system. I think he would honestly be pretty good in that system as well. Has similar weapons to what he did in Minnesota. So see if that happens. But just a prediction.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the.
Whoa.
Well, we'll talk about the
No,
Eagles.
I agree. Camille's got to make a great point about Jalen Carter, I think. Before we
Yeah.
interrupt him.
I think you could make the case at this point that Jalen Carter is the best defensive player alive.
Whoa.
I mean,
Whoa.
I think so. I mean, who's up there in that conversation? We look at Jalen. This guy is just so dominant. Every single play, he
Best
commands so
DT
much
for
attention.
sure.
Yeah, DT. Yeah,
Yeah.
commands so much attention at the line. And then when you get into these conversations about the best players at a given position or any side of the fields, what do you look for? You look for coming up big in big playoff moments. That's exactly what Jalen Carter did. He was undeniable. He was unstoppable. Came up with a big sack and a big pressure to get to Matt Stafford, stop that comeback. I love Jalen Carter. He's incredible.
He is a dog. Three tackles, 2 sacks,
Mhm.
and a forced fumble in that game. They were all huge. Move on to the last game.
Yeah, Bills Ravens. This
I'll-
game, the most anticipated game of the weekend. We were high on the Bills.
One of
Shree,
the
I think you
expected.
picked the Bills as well. Even though you did pick the Ravens to win the Super Bowl, so that's why I was unclear whether you.
I think when we did our like predictions later, I was like Lions.
All right, Rohan, I'm gonna throw it to you because we're gonna take our our victory
Yeah.
lap is the AFC Championship. Go ahead. What happened with the Ravens for the 5th time in a row?
I'm not gonna lie, I was dick riding Josh Allen as Rohan's making faces the whole time, so I'm gonna enjoy this moment while I can.
I'm okay. I know everyone wants to say Lamar. I know everyone wants to say Lamar.
Mhm.
But if you look at the game, I think this comes down to this Ravens defense not being able to get the Bills off the field and letting the Bills truly control, I think, time of possession, especially in that first half. Listen, you want to talk about Lamar? Sure, that first pick, it was awful. It didn't lead to anything. It was an immediate 3-and-out. That second fumble was bad. That led to the touchdown. But outside of that, this Bills team consistently ran over the Ravens. The Bills team felt in control the entire game. They put up, what, 21 points in the first half? 21 points in the first half. Sure, this defense tightens up in the second half, but when you have two critical mistakes by Mark Andrews later on in the game, it's not enough. And you look at this Ravens offense, on the other hand, in the second half. I mean, if you look at the last three drives, I think they put together a dominant drive led by Derrick Henry where they score a touchdown. Lamar showing that he can throw in the playoffs finally until that Mark Andrews fumble, and then the Lamar 2-minute drill where they score the touchdown and miss the extra point, 2-point conversion. So there's a lot of factors here. Obviously, I think if I'm pointing fingers on this Ravens loss, it's the defense and Mark Andrews. And I know I'm like, it seems like I'm conveniently ignoring Lamar, but I'm not. Lamar played a solid game. And he really bounced back. He really bounced back from a rough first half.
All right, are you done?
I'm done.
When are we gonna stop making excuses for Lamar Jackson?
Wait, no, hold on.
Gave you a whole laundry list of excuses.
No. I've admitted that Lamar Jackson is not a playoff quarterback, but you can't deny that on Sunday he played probably the best playoff game of his career, and he
lost,
and you've been saying for so long. You've been saying
okay, if that's his best game, that proves my point more than anything.
I don't mean statistically. What I'm saying is that he finally showed up in a big moment. And you can't blame his teammates for letting him down.
I'm not talking. The fact of the matter is,
without his wide receiver,
he put his team in that position. The defense did its job in the second half. The defense, he
made one mistake.
Two mistakes.
Okay, one that actually resulted in something.
No, but Rohan, he gave up 2 possessions of the football. That's huge in the playoffs.
I mean,
if you do that in the first half, it put the Bills in control for the entire game. And they're just like every point you listen about them being controlled, them being dominant, that stems directly from Lamar giving up the ball and putting him in that hole.
We hit Josh Allen for picks during the regular season. We hit Josh Allen for picks during the Bills-Bengals divisional round 2 years ago, and said Josh
because
and we said
Josh is trying to do everything. Josh has to do everything for this team.
But I'm saying in the playoffs, turnovers are one of the best predictors of a team winning. Look at all the teams that won this weekend. The Commanders won because the Lions turned over the ball. The Eagles won because they didn't turn over the ball. The Bills won because they didn't turn over the ball. It's the same thing. I feel like, look, Lamar played well on Sunday. He played okay in the circumstances. But if you're looking at the whole body of work he's put out in the playoffs, and the fact that
I'm not talking about a whole body of work. I'm talking about one game, and I'm saying he played a solid game.
My point is that if this is the whole body of work, if this is Lamar's best game, and his team still lost because of the position he put them in, it's a team sport. Not one player is going to be responsible for the loss. But you can't say Lamar did not have a part in it either.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Yeah. Anyways, let's talk about what the Bills did. I think when you compare Lamar Jackson with Josh Allen in this game, I think you see 2 quarterbacks at a very different stage in their evolution, very different point in their careers. Obviously, Lamar Jackson played incredible this season, but you look at the other side of the ball in that game, and Josh Allen took exactly what the defense gave him. He played smart, he played calm, he played poised, didn't make any big mistakes, and then you're able to mix in the run game as well. You have Josh Allen putting him out in spread looks on third down, get the threat of his legs out there. It's almost unstoppable. I really love this Bills offense. I love the way they're controlling the clock. I love the way they're limiting mistakes. I love the way they're always converting on third downs, marching down the field. And look, I want to talk about the Bills defense a bit too. I think we could all admit that the Bills defense has been pretty soft this year, but what they have been great out is creating turnovers and executing a game plan with the personnel that they have when they need to. What was the game plan going into this game? Shut down Derrick Henry, right? Make Lamar throw, make them, force them into some mistakes. That's exactly what they did. That's what they've been doing all year. And I think that's the biggest difference with the Bills this year. McDermott's finally stopped playing this really soft defense, or at least he's admitted what it is, and is trying to tailor it to what the team needs at any given moment against any given team. And I think that's really all they need to do to win a Super Bowl with the way this offense is playing. I love the game we played. I'm feeling confident about this Chiefs game. And yeah, Josh Allen's better than Lamar Jackson, and he just always will be. And I don't care about MVP. He's just MV3 or whatever. He's fucking better. All right. Josh Allen's a better quarterback.
Hey, quick word on the Bills defense. Just want to shout out, with the Patriots dynasty, the reason they won is because Belichick's one mantra was take away the offense's best player. Let's take that out. I think you saw it on full display against the Ravens. And sorry to get back to the Lamar train, but the fact that the game plan was let's put it in the quarterback's hands. Yeah. You do that against the Chiefs, or the Bills or any of these
No,
teams.
no OC's going into the game saying, "Let's put the ball in Josh Allen's hands."
No, hold on. Let's say like 5 steps back, okay? Let's first acknowledge that Derrick Henry is only as good as he is because he's coupled with the threat of Lamar
No,
Jackson.
he's
We
only
thought
He,
that was
because
the Steelers.
he made
Derrick-
his name without Lamar Jackson.
He's Derrick-
Despite-
Think about how
He did with
performed
Ryan
the last-
Tannehill.
Think about how he's performed the last 2 years. You can't deny that he's having one of the best seasons of his career.
He rushed for
at this
2,000 with
point.
Ryan Tannehill.
Okay, that was like 6 years
That
ago,
was
bro.
3 years
Come
ago.
on.
2021.
Really?
Yeah.
Bro, nobody's gonna
Yeah.
deny nobody's gonna deny that Lamar elevates Derrick Henry's game. But I also think you can't deny how much Derrick Henry adds to Lamar's game, and when you take him out of the game, how much Lamar suffers for that.
I agree, and I'm gonna make 2 points. First off, I think that there was a coaching error here once again, where you saw something that worked in the Steelers game, which was running read options, letting Lamar have design runs, and
Agree, yeah.
you just abandoned that game plan. They should have put the ball in Lamar's hands. It's not a bad thing to do if you're playing to his
You got
strengths
put
of
him in his hands to let him run.
of being the best running quarterback in the league. Your second issue is the fact that you don't have your best receiver. Zay Flowers is out. Listen, I'm not going to go out there and say Lamar Jackson's as good of a passer as Josh Allen. That's not a factual statement, and I agree with that. But you don't put the ball in his hands to run. You make him pass to Rashad Bateman as wide receiver 1 and Mark Andrews who makes 2 critical mistakes. I mean, what do you expect?
Mhm.
Right? Like I think it is partially Lamar's fault, but at the same time, I think there's other factors too.
Sorry, before you go, Shay, I think one final point on that first point you brought up about getting Lamar involved in more runs. The Bills were running a lot of two-man spies during this game. They're essentially saying, "Go out and pass the ball, Lamar. We don't care. You can take big plays, right? Go out and pass. We're just not going to let you beat us with our legs."
True.
Yeah, I'm gonna say a couple of things. One, I think I do understand Lamar like had like a lot of turnovers. I mean, 2 turnovers, both of them crucial. But I think the way he led that last drive, like he took them all the way to the end, almost scored a 2-point conversion. Like, I mean, I feel like that's something that he's never really done in the playoffs. Like, yeah, he made his mistakes early in the game, but they were honestly in a position to make it to overtime. Like, to be honest, like maybe we wouldn't even be having this conversation right now if Mark Andrews caught that ball. Like, to be completely honest with you.
90 seconds and 3 timeouts.
Yeah. All I'm saying is like we could be having a very different conversation. Number 2, I got to give credit to the Bills defense. I will say like Lamar Jackson didn't have multiple turnovers in any game the entire season. This Bills defense did that. I might be attributable to Lamar Jackson as a player, or just that this Bills defense just got better. We've been talking about how this Bills like roster's coming back. I think Terrell Bernard and like Von Miller had like amazing like fumble recoveries. Like, I mean, so many takeaways like throughout the game. So I think the Bills are like so great, like offensively, defensively. The run game looks dangerous from the Bills, and that's like I don't think I've ever said that like any time this season. Like the run game from the Bills looking very dangerous, and yeah, Josh Allen is winning playoffs games with putting up less than 150 yards through the air. So I think that says a lot about how much this team can do and how many ways it can do. So yeah, that's basically what I got.
Awesome. Let's move on to the NFC Championship, our first championship game. Commanders Eagles. We talked about both these teams. Let me ask you guys, Sheree, I'll go back to you. What do you think is the key to this game for both teams?
I think, I mean, I don't know if it's possible or not, but I think, you know what? The Washington Commanders should execute the exact same defensive strategy that the Bills used on the Ravens. So, like, just try to limit Saquon Barkley. I don't know if that's possible. I'm pretty sure it's crazy to even think about. But I feel like if the Commanders can force turnovers, put it in Jalen Hurts' hands, and he has been turnover prone. He's been like he had an injury. I think that's what the Commanders got to do. I will trust at this point. Like, there's no doubting Jayden Daniels. Like, you give him like a game-winning drive. You give him like I don't know, like if he needs to come back, like he'll come back. But I think that's what the defense needs to do. They need to stop the run effectively. I know, like obviously that makes sense because it's Saquon Barkley, but if they're able to just keep up with the Eagles, just limit them on the ground somewhat, force it into Jalen Hurts' hands, I think that's what all the Commanders need to do. But hey, Marshawn Lattimore, hopefully he has a great game. I don't know if he's going to have a great game.
He is so
Yeah.
washed.
Go for it.
I'll say for the Eagles, your key to your game plan is run the ball.
Yeah.
Saquon has ran for 146 yards in the last game, 150 in the game before that against the Commanders. This Commanders defense, it's not great. It's really not great. Jahmyr Gibbs ran for, I think he had 14 carries for 105 last week. I don't know why the Commanders didn't run the ball more. Or why the Lions didn't run the ball more. That's beyond me. But if they just hand the ball up to Saquon, I think the Eagles are fine. They can hand the ball, give him the ball, control the clock, And Saquon is inevitably going to rip a big one off like he did last week and like he has in countless weeks before. And Shree, you were saying play the same defense that the Bills did against the Ravens. I think the Commanders have the inside presence for that. And B, I think that the one way to get to Jalen Hurts is by pressuring him. And you can't pressure him, have all these guys coming downfield, and then expect to stop Saquon. If your idea is to drop back in coverage, or play man on man, Jalen Hurts can at least get it to his guys. He can at least get it to AJ Brown, Devontae Smith.
That's debatable.
No, I mean, we saw him make important passes in
They
that
have
game
the
against the
28th
Rams.
ranked.
Wait, you actually know the last time I felt confident in Jalen Hurts this season was actually against the Steelers, like way back when.
Yeah.
I haven't felt confident about Jalen Hurts like since then, to be completely fair with you.
And that was against a terrible defense. I think I'm going to pick the Eagles in this game. And it goes against, honestly, what I want to do, because what I see in the Commanders is the better coach and quarterback. And I realized they got me in the wrong place last week against the Rams, against the Eagles. But
Very insistent.
so I'm not going to make that mistake again. I'm not going to make that mistake again. Because I think Jayden Daniels is the better quarterback. I think Dan Quinn has done a great job this year. But I think the Commanders are running on a lot of hope, a great quarterback, and a little bit of luck right now. And unfortunately, I think that luck's going to run out. I think the key to this game is actually the Eagles defense. I think the Eagles defense is bar none one of the best units, probably the best unit left in the playoffs right now. I think this unit is incredibly consistent. It knows how to limit mobile quarterbacks. Jayden Daniels was able to go to town on this unit, in week 15 or something, but Jalen Hurts was out for that game. And, for all I dock against Jalen Hurts, he is not Kenny Pickett. That's for sure. I think the Eagles are going to be able to possess the ball, dominate time possession, and more than anything, keep the ball out of Jayden Daniels' hands, because he can only do so much when he's sitting on the sideline and watching this team rattle off 10-yard runs with Saquon Barkley and mixing in Jalen Hurts.
There's no stopping this guy. It's just slowing him down at this point.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. He's going to put up like 20 points against you. You just got to make sure he doesn't get the ball that much.
I think the only way the Commanders win this game is if they come out to a similar hot start like they did against the Lions, score touchdowns in their first few positions, maybe hope a takeaway goes your way.
They need a takeaway to win this game, I think.
And early on, too, because you need to make sure you can get out to a lead and force Jalen Hurts to pass. Because otherwise, I really do, I think you can say, we can stop Saquon Barkley. I don't think the Commanders have the personnel to do that, nor are they. I mean, they're facing the best offensive line in football, too.
Yeah. It's a tough task.
Yeah, I'm going to go Eagles as well, largely for the same reasons I had them beating the Rams last week. I think this roster is just too complete, even with the shortcomings that Jalen Hurts presents for them. When you look at this Washington offense and Jayden Daniels against that Eagles defense, I do think if there ever was a time that Jayden Daniels is going to struggle a little in these playoffs, it's going to be on the road in a hostile environment against an extremely good, just freakish defensive unit with athletes all across the unit. I don't think there's enough juice on that Commanders offense to really, for their skill position players to really match up that well. Terry's going to have a big game. But I do think they have the corners and secondary to shut them down and force them to rely on guys like Yami Brown, Zach Ertz, which I don't think is going to really win you a ball game. I think look at the other side of the ball. I just think Commanders' defense is overmatched and overpowered by that Eagles offense. Again, even if Jalen Hurts isn't that great, that offensive line is just too good. Even if Marshawn Lattimore manages to lock up A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith, wherever they put him on, which I highly doubt, you still have a whole host of receivers and Barry Sanders himself reincarnated at running back. So I do think this is going to be a very tough game for the Commanders to win. I think the Eagles win by about 10, 13 points. A little comfortable victory for them. But Jayden Daniels, he plays all right. And I think the main takeaway from this game everybody's going to talk about is how bright the future of the Commanders is.
Yeah, I think even if the Commanders lose here,
you're not concerned.
You are not concerned whatsoever. You have $90 million in cap space. You're in year one of a rebuild, and you're in the NFC Championship.
And your free agents are going to love to come to play for Jayden Daniels.
Yeah, and you already saw that with Lattimore. I mean, Lattimore wanted to go to the Commanders. I think a lot of people are taking notice, and if you look at it, I mean, last round the Commanders, maybe we'll see next week if they make it. But I think you look at the NFC right now, there are not many quarterbacks right now who will have that superstar status. All of them are in the AFC. There's not. I mean, you could make the argument right now. Jayden Daniels is already the best quarterback in the conference. So
this could be a team of destiny too, though. Don't knock
we'll
it.
See.
Don't knock it. This could be the team of destiny, and Jayden Daniels could be him.
But let's talk about the AFC Championship. This is the one for the weekend. there's really no intro you really need to make for this game. It's Josh Allen, it's Patrick Mahomes, it's Manning Brady all over again. Josh Allen's 4-1 against Mahomes in the regular season. He is 0-3 in the playoffs. We've had some great games between these two quarterbacks, between these two teams, between these two coaches. Camille,
Mhm.
it's time to slay the beast. You think the
That
Bills
it
are ready?
is.
Did you
No,
prepare that?
no.
You dropped a lot of bars there, Arjun.
Sometimes I impress myself.
Here's what I'll open with.
I gotta go into this business, man.
This was really eloquent.
I
Yeah.
was telling Arjun this earlier, but it doesn't feel like the Bills are a win away from the Super Bowl because they're playing the Chiefs. It feels like we're a whole like 5 regular
Yeah.
seasons away from the Super Bowl. It just doesn't feel attainable because they're this giant brick wall that's always been standing in front of us. But I do believe and I do have hope and I do have faith that this is the year that finally changes. And let me tell you why. Josh Allen. People say Josh Allen is not comparable to Patrick Mahomes and that Mahomes is on is on an entirely different tier, which at this point in their careers is fair. However, personally, I think these two players are at the same level and that Josh Allen could potentially be better. And my argument for why is because you look at when Josh Allen came into this league, right, as a rookie in his first 2 years, he sucked. He was awful. But the consistent improvement and progression throughout his time in the league has been undeniable. And I think we've reached the point this year with Josh Allen and this Joe Brady offense where he's finally realized how to maximize his skills, put on the cape when he needs to, but go out there and play winning football, play like Tom Brady, take what the defense gives him, and just go out there and win playoff football games. And I think when you look at the coaching staff as well, Sean McDermott has evolved as a coach as well. And I think we're finally at a point where he's ready to go out there, call a good game, do what has to be done to finally beat these Chiefs. Mahomes is going to get his. I do think that there's going to be a couple stops though with this linebacker core of Terrell Bernard and Matt Milano, Christian Benford. We had all those guys out last time we played the Chiefs, and we still almost beat them in the playoffs. That was a game as well with a ton of drops, not just the Diggs drop that people have to talk about. 2 third down sure field drops, a strange Khalil Shakir drop. It was just a bad game for that offense. And I don't think that's going to happen this year. They're focused. They understand what brand of football they have to play. I think they're going to go out and execute, take care of business. I think they're so hungry. I get the Chiefs are going for a three-peat, but in a way, it feels as if the Bills have more to play for and a much larger sense of urgency in winning this game. And I think they go out and get it done. Call it 31-28.
Cool.
Hopefully
All
it
right.
rolls.
That was awesome. Let's go to the unbiased take. Sherry? No, I'm not kidding.
One thing about the Chiefs that actually worries me, for the Bills, as someone that actually wants the Bills to win, is just Travis Kelce. Like, I think he put up a clinic the other day against the Texans. I think one thing that I feel like is just factual, that's just been true in history between like Bills and Chiefs, is that when it comes playoff time, the Bills just somehow aren't able to, take care of Travis Kelce. Like, I feel like he's always there no matter what. Like, I understand this year they're the deepest they've ever been. I understand this year
We had AJ Klein on him last year.
I know, I
He was
understand.
sitting on a couch in Cabo like a week before.
Yeah.
I do agree with that. It's just to me like I think I'm expecting the Bills to have like some like exotic blitzes, like delayed blitzes, like whatever it takes to just get the Chiefs like off their game. I think what I honestly expect is the Bills are gonna come off like early start, something maybe like Texans Chiefs like 2017 type thing, where like the Bills are up that much and then the Chiefs just like somehow get back into it. Kind of similar, like I just feel like it'll be like somewhat reminiscent of this Bills Ravens game. I'm not saying it's gonna happen just like that, but I feel like I don't know. It's so hard to bet against this Chiefs offense. I think Mahomes is great. I know they haven't looked good, but what you do know is that they'll win every time. And I'm not saying that the Bills are going to lose because I really want them to win, but it's just so hard to bet against Mahomes in the playoffs. I don't have good reasons to picking the Chiefs. I think the Bills are just well-rounded, all around run game.
Changing your pick again?
No, I'm not changing my pick again. But I will gladly take the Bills. Hopefully, I think Josh Allen will.
So, sure, you just described a bunch of reasons why the Chiefs are going to win.
I'm just saying, I really hope the Bills just win, though.
I just hope the Bills.
I feel you, man.
All right, I'm gonna try my best to actually give a somewhat backed up argument for why I think the Bills are gonna win this game. I think it comes down to two things. I actually think these two teams are very similar, honestly.
Yeah.
I think they're very similarly built. I think defensively, probably the Chiefs are a little more aggressive than the Bills' defense is. And offensively, I think the Bills are a lot more aggressive than the Chiefs' offense is. So I think at that point, you have to think about because these two teams have essentially the same roster construction, same philosophy on both or same philosophy overall. You have to think about what team executes that philosophy better. I think if you look at the season as a whole, you have to take the Bills there. I think all the Chiefs really have going for them right now is third down efficiency, but the Bills are one of the best third down teams in the league as well. As well on fourth down. That's actually, I think the Bills, if I believe, are number 2 in the league in fourth down conversion to the Commanders. I think the X factor in this game really comes down to what team can convert more of these key third and short, fourth and short plays. And Josh Allen's legs are going to be a huge part of that. I think what the Chiefs have been doing throughout this entire year has been really this kind of dink and dunk offense where they brought along a lot of these players throughout the year and they're still figuring things out. I think the Bills have a really clear offensive philosophy. They get to Khalil Shakir on these early downs. They do this one receiver four split set where they have one receiver coming over the field and then everyone else going allow Josh Allen to play conductor. I think the Bills are extremely gifted offensively at really moving the chains and dominating time possession that way. And I think James Cook's going to be a big part of that. I think defensively, you have to assume Patrick Mahomes is going to get his lumps in. And you just have to allow the Bills offense and Josh Allen to keep the ball moving. I think much like the Eagles game, I think this game comes down to time possession. What team runs the ball better? What team keeps the chains moving? And what quarterback sees less of the field here? I don't think we're going to get another 13 seconds game. This game, to me, screams like 23-20 type thing. And I think the Bills are just the better team right now. They're more built to win in the playoffs. The offensive line, we've talked about this a lot, protects Josh Allen. I believe sacked once or maybe not even at all last week. Does not get sacked. Patrick Mahomes got sacked 8 times last week. That's the kind of thing that puts you behind the chains, makes you punt. So give me the Bills, protecting the quarterback, moving the chains forward, 23-20.
That was cool, man. That was really sick.
Okay. He's the heel on this podcast, man.
I'm the what?
You're the heel.
Honestly.
Well, I'd bring you guys back down to earth. Yeah. Sorry
the villain.
Sorry to ruin the fun for you guys. I mean, look, we talked a lot about Lamar. You talk about a history with Lamar, a thing that Lamar can't get in the playoffs. You talk about this being Lamar's ceiling, and I think you have to turn and take that same sort of narrative and put it on Josh Allen and the Bills, because this is a Bills team that has been very, very good for a lot of years, and they consistently come up short against Patrick Mahomes. This is a Bills team that should have won last year. It should have won 13 seconds. It should have, and if they won those 2 games, who knows? They're probably winning the Super Bowl that year. Not last year, you said?
We were just way too injured on defense last year.
Sure, but I mean, you had a chance. You had a chance, and
I say this year is when we have to go out and beat them.
Yeah, I think you have to beat them this year, but it's just I just have to wonder whether or not that's actually possible. And you look at what happened last week towards the end of that game, a lack of ability to sort of get pressure on Lamar, which wasn't something they were intending on doing, but letting Lamar sit back there and eventually dice up that defense, letting Lamar lead what would have been a game-winning drive before the Mark Andrews fumble, and then letting him actually lead what could have been a game-tying drive in the drive after. If you let Mahomes, if this is the defense going up against Mahomes, you can't feel good about that. Likely and Andrews had a good game outside of receiving wise. He got open a lot. I meant Likely and Andrews both had good games in that sense. Kelsey, I think, could feast here, even with these linebackers that the Bills have. The receivers on this team are better than what the Ravens have. I just think that the Chiefs have not unlocked their offense entirely. I don't know if that's a strategic decision because they know that they don't need to, or if that's really just limitations of where this Chiefs offense is at. I don't know which one it is, but we've seen time and time again, this Chiefs offense steps up in a big way when they need to. I mean, you can't deny that.
So are you really making the argument the Chiefs have waited till the AFC Championship to let their offense be unlocked?
Well, no, it's like it was a
okay. You say
this was
like you think they're really holding these cards back?
I don't think they're holding these. Okay,
because
I don't think they're holding these
said this
cards
after
back.
the Bills Chiefs game. It's not true. Like they weren't holding back anything. The Bills are just the better team that day. They're probably going to be the better team on Sunday.
Yeah, we haven't talked at all about the regular season game. Yeah,
I mean, call it clutch factor, call it whatever you want. This is a team that shows up in big situations. The Bills, unfortunately, are not, especially against the Chiefs. I think history speaks for a lot here. And outside of that, just another thing. The Chiefs are good at getting pressure, obviously. Steve Spagnuolo dials up That was our pressure, what he's known for. You got Chris Jones on the interior. You got good edge rushers and George Karlaftis. I saw a stat that out of qualified passers, hold on, let me pull it up. Out of qualified passers, Josh Allen is 24th out of 24 in adjusted completion percentage when under pressure. Josh Allen, for as good as he is, ranks as the worst
What's that? What
quarterback
is it? Adjusted completion percentage?
under pressure.
What,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I really buy that. I mean,
I don't like your
he's been the
sack,
best
so I
quarterback
disagree.
against the blitz. He's been the best quarterback against the blitz all year.
But when actually facing pressure, he's one.
Yeah,
Is it a blitz
but how-
pressure?
Well, I mean, blitz and pressure. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I don't know, man. Like you could bring up completion percentage, but like every other stat, like EPA, points, whatever. When he's actually pressured, he's unstoppable because he just rolls out.
So,
and he
okay,
finds
all
a
right.
guy and he-
Whatever cherry picks, who's been the better quarterback this year? Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes?
Or sorry, Josh Allen. Josh
Okay.
Allen, obviously. But that's not to say that when you take this team as a whole, this Chiefs team is better. This defense is a lot better. You said it yourself.
I'm
the Bills
seeming to remember a
defense-
certain run wherever the Chiefs blitzed him in the red zone against, back in November, and
Yeah.
Josh Allen ran for a 30-yard touchdown.
Okay,
also hit a
listen,
touchdown to Curtis Samuel with like 3 different free rushers in his face.
Okay, this is like me saying that Lamar and the Ravens would have won because they blew at the Bills 35-10 that one week. Like, it's the regular season. It happened 7 weeks ago at this point.
Week 11, week 4, but it's counting.
It's actually more than
Yeah, you're right. Bills are
Yeah.
missing a lot of players too. Keon Coleman, Dalton Kincaid, Spencer
I'm
Brown.
just saying, man. You almost like Camille. See, the thing is, I really don't want to root for the Chiefs, but you almost make me root for the Chiefs.
Listen,
That's your own sick head.
Rohan, you can vote for whoever you can root for whoever the hell you want. Like I don't care. I trust the Bills. I think this is the year they break through. They end that narrative. And I think we finally. I know you got to see it to believe it, but I think you're going to see it, and you're finally going to see just how good Josh Allen this team is.
We'll see.
I'm just gonna say,
I'm
if
taking
the Chiefs end up winning, next week's show is gonna be absolutely hilarious.
yeah,
And sad, but also like it's gonna be really interesting.
I don't care. Like I can't be hurt anymore.
Will you be back on the show?
Yeah, I'll be back, dude. I've experienced 13 seconds. Like I've gone through a whole ton of bullshit with this Bills team. Like nothing's gonna break me at this point. Like,
That's
it's
true.
fine.
That's the right mindset.
Yeah.
All right, Shri, to you for our final segment.
All right, we've been talking about Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, both great quarterbacks. But let's talk about like the quarterback from the NFC, Jayden Daniels. He's been amazing this year, arguably the best rookie season of all time. I think honestly he has the best rookie season of all time. I think the only person that I think honestly comes close is like Big Ben. Like Big Ben went like 13-0, but he's in the NFC Championship right now. He's been carrying this defense. I feel like all other quarterbacks their rookie years had great defenses. This man has like a 28th ranked defense. He's been playing amazing. So rapid fire segment. I'm just going to say a quarterback. Are you going to take this quarterback or Jayden Daniels? All three of you at the same time, okay? I'm going to start with Jayden Daniels or Justin Herbert.
Jayden Daniels. No, we'll have no one else.
Jayden Daniels. I had to process.
Yeah, Jaden.
There's no process on that one.
All right, we'll go Jayden Daniels or Baker Mayfield.
Or who?
Baker.
Oh, Jayden.
Jayden.
I mean, he beat him.
All right, Jayden Daniels or Jared Goff.
Jaden, come on.
All right, Jayden Daniels or Joe Burrow.
Burrow, yeah.
Okay, so Jayden Daniels.
Wait, Rohan didn't he? Burrow or Jayden Daniels?
Jayden.
What crazy take.
Not right now, but if I want my franchise quarterback, it's Jayden Daniels.
I think how we should like consider this is like you want this quarterback going into next season.
Yeah, I'm still taking Burrow.
I think that's
going into next season, Burrow.
Okay, Jayden Daniels or Lamar Jackson.
Give me Jaden, man. Jaden's like shown he could show up in the playoffs. I don't know.
Honestly, yeah, give me Jayden too. Like picking Rohan's favorite kid.
Wait, I can't answer this question. Oh no. Fuck Jayden, bro.
If you had to rank him like quarterbacks in the league, like top 5, where are we putting Jayden Daniels? Because I feel like if we're taking him above like some of these quarterbacks, he might be in the top 5 conversation.
I think he's
Well, I think the top 4 is set.
Yeah, I think Jaden's the 5th easily.
So
you have to put Jayden at 5 right now. I think right now you have Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Lamar, in whatever order you probably want them to be. I think you put them. The Lamar one's hard for me because I think Lamar is probably the better regular season player. I mean, just based on we've seen Lamar be dominant in the regular season year over year. Jayden, we're not sure, sophomore slump, but like, actually, I'm going to take Lamar. I'm going to be the one person to take Lamar over Jayden.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. The reason I picked Jayden is because I think that his play, I don't think he's going to see a sophomore slump. I think his play sort of transcends that. It's
We said a lot of this with TJ Stroud last year.
Yes, right. We know
it's
it.
but it's smart quarterbacking. It's like he finds a way to like take what the defense gives you and get yardage on every single play. That's really unique. He's not as electric as Lamar, but I think he shows some poise that, like you said, Lamar frankly doesn't have sometimes in big moments.
Yeah, I'm fully with you, Rohan. I think we've seen poise and command from Jayden that we
He
frankly
skates.
haven't seen from Lamar in the playoffs in year 7 at this point.
Yeah. All right. I assume that's it. We're not doing Josh and Patrick, right?
Yeah. I just figured I'd just go through
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening to our championship round episode. Just 3 more episodes to go of this final season. Excited to bring that to you. And by next week, we will have our Super Bowl matchup for this season. Make sure to check out our Instagram pics, as well as you guys can all pick in our stories as well. And stay tuned for our final 3 episodes of the show. Thank you guys for joining us all along the way. My name is Arjun Ryan.
Or Tree Bum Conda.
I'm Camille and Danny.
And I'm Rob Patel.
And we'll see you next week on the turf.